I always go with my first capital, which is the money I get, invest into it, take the profits, invest the profits, and now I spend the dividends, that's the money from the profits.
Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of the Bezo Smarts Podcast series, your financial literacy hub. On this show, if you're new, we interview finance experts, successful career professionals, and business people to share their knowledge with us so we can make improved and effective financial decisions. And guess what, guys? We're so proud of you for taking the step today to improve your finances. On today's show, I have a wonderful special guest with us today. That's Kalybos over here, and I'm just going to tell you, you all know him, of course. I'm just going to tell you a little bit about him anyway. So he is a sensational comic icon in the entertainment scene, known as Kalybos. That's his character name, but he's actually Richard Asante. I never knew this until I saw this on your website. Yeah, so he is a filmmaker, an entrepreneur, and he is a CEO of Boss Production Ghana. He made his action debuts in a comedy video series, Boys Kasa, in 2012. Richard Asante became an instant hit on the screens due to his background in the creative arts industry and naturally being gifted, of course. So this episode is just going to be about his career life, his professional life, and how he has been able to come up to the stage. So welcome once again, Kalybos, to the show.
Thank you so much, Ashley.
How are you
Be
doing?
so smart, okay? Be financially smart, that's nice.
That's nice, yes.
Great.
How are you doing? What's up?
I'm doing great, yourself?
I'm good too. Thanks for asking. I remember when you first, should I say, blew up? I used to see your videos like everywhere. Kalybos, the only boss with one S.
Yes.
Period. I think I was in GHS.
Oh, you were?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I used to watch it a lot, probably with family and all of that.
Nice.
So, how did it all begin for you? Where did it start from? I think you can talk a bit about your educational background.
Sure.
High school. After that, what was the next step for you?
Sure. Okay, so as you mentioned earlier, my name, which you got it correct. Yeah. So I was born and raised in Accra, although both parents are from Kumasi. Yes, Ashanti. So I'm 100% Ashanti. You know, I don't play.
Oh, I'm
50.
Ashanti too.
Oh, you are.
Yes.
Ashley Ashanti.
I'm a brewer.
It's fine. Just a botanical name there. It's okay. Brewer.
Yes.
Yes. So my dad and my mom, they both lived here in Accra. So my elementary, primary stage school, I attended it in St. Anthony's Preparatory School. Why have I tried to get the name right? Yes. St. Anthony's Preparatory School. Then it was being managed by Cheche Kule. I don't know if you ever heard of it. Uncle George Lane. Okay. So you wouldn't know. So Cheche Kule back in the days was this whole fun kids program with Uncle George. So he does it. He was doing it from the school, you know, with the school children. But then everything on that show was fun, was about education, was about games and all that, you know, talent, you know, nurturing and all that. So Kakraba Fanfare, that was what he calls it. So Cheche Kule was very popular back in the days. When you to take away By the Fireside, which you also don't know. That's fine. That one was by Mame Dokno, Grace Omabo.
I know her.
Yes. So By the Fireside was more of, you know, these folktale stories, kids and all that. But then Cheche Kule had the fun part of it because there were games, there were talents, you know, hands, there were all of sort of, you know, kids shows. So I developed my ability to act, so to say, from that school, because we were forced to have, or you know, show our talent. So I started with a little bit of dance, okay, which a certain girl called, wow, I remember the name, Mama Yoga.
Hey.
She beat me to it at the finals.
Hey.
And you say, so I ended that dancing thing. because how can a girl beat me to dance? But that's fine. So I started with dancing, and I realized, okay, so in church as well. So I was more active with the kids drama club and all that. So okay, so if dancing I've been beaten by a girl, why don't I switch to acting? So I started with church acting and all that.
This was in high school.
No, this was still in primary school.
Exactly. Okay.
So that was where I identified my funny self. Let me just put it that way. The comic acting in me. That was where I identified it, because every role that I'll be given, I have to attach the comedy feel to it, just to make it. You understand? I quite remember one time we acted in church, the birth of Christ, which every church does anyway. So I was supposed to be one of the three wise men. I quite remember, they brought forth, gold and, I've forgotten what they brought. But anyway, they came with gifts. They came bearing gifts, and I forgot the gift I was holding. And when the first wise man said his gift, the second also did his, and there I couldn't even remember what I was holding. So I was just looking at theirs. I was like, first one, what are you holding? And the church, everybody just started laughing and all that.
That wasn't even deliberate.
Like, no, I was just being myself, and that the church, I mean, that play couldn't continue because everybody was laughing. The pastor was on the ground laughing, like, what is this? Anyway, so that all began in the primary school. So I didn't really pay much attention to it till I entered into the secondary school, Suhum Secondary Technical. Yes, that's where I attended. And then again, the acting didn't pop up. It began with music, rap.
Oh.
So I loved music then. The only getaway for us when we're in school, when the pressure is on with, education and all that, everything I had to do was with music. And we had this thing back in the days called Palito, a very little radio device.
Okay, I don't think I came to meet it.
You didn't. Wow, I'm just giving you a little.
How young am I?
Don't worry. So yes, it's called Palito, a very little device that only the frequency on it is just for radio. You can put in a memory or anything, just radio. So there was this show on Adom FM called Kasa Level, which gave birth to Sarkodie. Most rappers from Tama, that's where they actually came from. So I used to listen to it every day, and Sarkodie was like my favorite. So then he started with a twisting rap, the tongue twisting, and I used to talk fast, so it was very easy for me to hit on that thing and do this tongue twist rap. So my school, it was very new. So my school was the first to ever see such a talent as in the twist rapping. So I was really hailed in my school, and I became the entertainment prefect for that. Yes. So that was in secondary school. Still, the acting didn't pop up there because yes, I found music. So after school, as I said, I did a secondary technical course, so it was more of a construction, architectural and all that. So I had admission to attend tech, that's USD. I don't know, some way, somehow, that thing just left me. Like
the music,
not music, I mean the architectural, in terms of heading to tech. And I think it was because I made more inquiries on it, and I was told architectural you have to do 7 years. I'm looking at like long. 4 years and like doing like 2 years and deferring and coming back and going to find money and all that. But then I was told 7 years. Like, wow. So during the matriculation, actually, like after the matriculation, that was it for me. I couldn't tell my dad. So I have this close auntie of mine, yes, who lives in Kumasi as well. So I discussed it to her, and I was like, I don't find myself doing this anymore. Now I want to enter into movie production. I want to enter into the entertainment industry because I still have the rap thing in me. So I want to see or give it a try. But then I want to better it with the movie industry because I was so obsessed with cameras, the whole idea about how camera works and all that. So I was so obsessed with it, and I told her. She was like, okay, but this we can't tell your dad because it will bring fire. And I know how my dad is, how particular he is with education and all that. So for my dad's knowledge, he knows I was still in school for the first year and the second year, but then I was still in Accra. I was still searching for schools which had or which do pure or full time film when it has to do with cinematography, directing, editing, and all sort of things. Because I was good with drawings and all that. That infused my construction side with the technical stuff. So I was really good in sketching and all that. But then I needed to find a school that would do that. But then I couldn't. All I got was more of acting, which had to do with stage drama and all that in Legon and all. But then I didn't want to push in for that. So I started with the music for a little while. I did some studio recordings and
you
all
put out
that.
some songs?
Yes,
Okay.
I did, which no one got to hear of it. I only did the songs for myself. But anyway, so I started searching for production houses that do film. So I got in contact with Sparrow Production, exactly. So actually, this is what happened. I went for the premiere. I've forgotten the movie. I think it's Stain in the Tail or something. They were premiering it, so I went for it. Which still my dad didn't know I was in Accra. Yes, so I went for it, and I happened to meet. Now that's what the turning point started. I happened to meet one renowned cinematographer, John Kasa. He's a director of photography, and he works for Shelley Frimpong. And he has worked with my dad before. Okay, so my dad also has a whole photography background. Let me just put it. So I think my obsession with camera came from my dad, because he started with photography at a certain point, which he started there. So his first apprentice was John Kasa. So I came to the premiere and I met John Kasa. I was like, hey, welcome. I was like, yes, Papa. Hey, when you, all that kind of thing, holding my cheeks, which I didn't like, but then it's fine.
Ghanaian.
I know, right? Hey, when you, and I guess, so what are you doing here? And I was like, oh, I came for the premiere, but I wanted to see the owner of this movie, like the production house and all that. It's like, okay, for what? So, but I want to start with the camera thing. I want to work with them under them, so I'll just, gather, experience and all that. Like, are you sure? I guess. And you don't know I work for them? And I said, I don't know. Okay. So he introduced me to Shelley. And he said, oh, that's my apprentice. That's what John Kasa said. So just then, the following day, he called me. I was like, they're going on set, so I should come. They were shooting Adam's Apple, the series from Shelley. So that was when I started working with Shelley. So I was assisting John Kasa as his camera assistant. So John Kasa taught me everything that has to do with camera, with focus pulling, with measuring, with tilting, with panning, everything that has to do with camera. John Kasa taught me. So I was quick to grab everything I had
all those
to.
Things
Exactly.
But at what point did you go to Nafti?
That's where I entered.
Oh,
so on the set, Shelley Frimpong Manson, my boss, that's John Kasa, the sound guy, Maulitofa, the makeup artist, they all attended Nafti. So on set, when you're talking about experience or, stories from NAFTI, trust me, if you're there and you never attended NAFTI, you would want to go to NAFTI. So everything they do, something will pop up, they talk about it like, do you remember when we were set filming this, and then that, they laugh about it. So I told my boss, that's NAFTI thing, I want to see him more. Like, it's a school. That's where we all went to learn what we're doing. I'm like, okay, now I know the technical know-how, I know the whatever practicals of it. So I want to go and learn the theory part of it. So he actually went to NAFTI to buy me forms.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So that was in 2010. Yeah, 2010. So he bought me the forms and I applied, and so I don't know if it still holds, but in NAFTI, when you apply, they need to know your ability to do what you want to do, the course you want to do there. So I was given a task to go film something, and I did it to the top of it, and I brought in, and they still didn't believe I shot it, because someone who wants to come to NAFTI like a greenhorn, so to say, and then they give you a task to go do, and this is what you bring. So they actually gave me a second task, and this time they added, TAs to it, and to go and check if I was the one who did it. So we went, and I did it perfectly, and I brought it, and I'm like, okay, so now who are you? So I went for the interview and all that. Before I said it, they were like, oh, you are John Passer's boy. But before then, I'd grabbed so much experience that now my boss wouldn't be there, but I'll be operating the camera. Yes, we did that. We show movies. We did a whole lot. So that was what began
your career.
Yes, my career. Field. My career, not in acting, but then in cinematography, which I acquired my degree from, which has been the backbone of my acting career.
Okay, so we'll talk about that in a bit, but that's a very interesting story.
Yeah.
So was there you see how if you want to do something, you saw someone on TV do this thing, and like, oh, maybe role model, and because of that person you now want to go into this field. Has there been any inspiring figure for you, whether music, I think you mentioned Sarkodie, cinematography, and then acting, which you do now?
Yeah.
Was there any inspiring figure?
So when I started with the acting, which since you mentioned, let me just give a little background with how it all also began. So
with the acting, we'll get to that.
We'll get to that. So what inspired me with the acting bits, with music, as you mentioned, Sarkodie, definitely, and some rappers as well, Missy Elliott, Busta Rhymes, Twister. Anyway, you have to Google for them. Yeah, so they inspired me with music because of the way I turn twist, I'll rap fast and all that. So with cinematography, I was really bent on Alfred Hitchcock's movie and the cinematography of it, especially with the lighting. Okay, so I was paying more attention to his movies. So then I met my boss, my godfather, John Passer. So he has been my inspiration when it has to do with cinematography and all that. But with acting, before I started with it, I needed to sort of brand myself with that. I felt everybody was doing the same thing.
Yeah.
So I want to do some. I might end up doing the same thing. So what will make mine look different, or what will distinguish me from the others, or what will brand me that this is who this guy is? So I picked that inspiration from Charlie Chaplin. So I read a little bit about him, realized in the 18th century, there wasn't sound in that era. It was just a motion picture. Yeah, so there wasn't
black
sound.
And white.
Exactly. So everything that he did, there wasn't any sound. But then this guy was so funny. So I realized, okay, with acting, it wouldn't just be what you say, but then how you put it, or what your body gestures will put it. And I realized he had two identification on him. So you see and go like, okay, there's Charlie Chaplin. That has to do with the hats, and there's a little mustache here. So I don't have that. I love Charlie Chaplin so much. So I picked the hats. So the hat is what I took as a little branding to myself and to my career, and that's what you see me put on every time. it became a fashion, a symbolic thing when I have to act, and now I can't do without it. I always put it. Let me tell you one funny story. I went for a shoot some time back. I go home and I wanted to take a shower, like quickly take a shower, because we were filming in the sun like the whole day. So I took off my dress, entered the shower, opened the shower, and I couldn't feel the water on my head.
Because the hat was still
So I was like, what is? And I realized I still had the hat on.
You know, that's like an actual short video of you.
I know, right?
Yes.
So I realized, okay, I was branding myself, and later on, it's become like part of me that I can't do without. So it's not that I'm bald or anything. I have very nice hair. What do you want to see?
Yes, please.
So this
Okay. All right.
And now I just can't do without it.
You
I
can't
feel
do without
empty
it.
when I'm not wearing it. So it's not anything of such. So yes, Charlie Chaplin to talk about when I started with the acting, which I felt okay. I like the guy. I like how he does his acting. I like the body gestures. I like his hats. I like as the branding. So that was what I picked about. But then when I started with the acting, and as I was evolving in it, I had a little, influence from other actors as well.
That's great. When you came to that point where you were still doing music before you went into acting,
I actually stopped it.
yeah,
When?
like it was something you liked.
Yes.
Yes. What made you make that decision? What made you choose acting over music? Like, at what points were you in, and what did you consider before you made that decision?
Okay, so when I left school from USD and I came back to Accra, I was so full time wanting to do music, and back in those times, it wasn't. I've slept in music studios like so many times I can't even count. All because I was so keen into learning the music part of it, which in that moment I didn't even know I was learning something that could benefit me in the future, or something which has to do with programming of beats, because I wouldn't get a chance to rap, because there's always someone who has paid to record their music. So what I could just stay there and pay attention to was how they program the beats. You understand? So I learned that from the studio. But then I realized to do music in Ghana, you really your talent wouldn't just be enough. I know Famille very well. Like, this guy, I always say he's blessed to have what's going on for him right now. Because trust me, if I'm to say, as at that time, from 2006, 2007, thereabout, and now you've heard Famille blow. He started from that time. Because I used to be in the studio with him. Like, I could see this guy every time. I could see myself in him. He was so keen in making music, and he wouldn't get a chance. You get it? So I realized with music, your talent wouldn't just be enough. You need a, how do I put it? You need a whole force of believers to say, okay, we want to rally behind you and give you all the maximum support you need to do your music. Which that's what went for him. Most people too, you might get finances from elsewhere, people who want to believe in your craft and put money in it. So music for me, I realized it's not just your talent, it's a whole force that has to do with finances, that has to do with support, that has to do with a whole lot. So I had to just put it on hold and focus on my second love, which has to do with filmmaking.
Would you say that you getting into acting was luck? Because it's actually quite interesting how I think you were operating the camera at that scene. I think that's when the first launched was Kasa, the shorts videos. And John already had an actor in mind, but then he didn't show up for the first shoot. And he's like, "Oh yeah, you come ahead and do it." And I'm like, "Oh sure." And then I think you did so well with it.
That's the whole
really cool.
turning point of it. Although I had it in my mind that I would one day want to try the acting thing. I wanted to do just strictly comedy, like just how it's all, played in. So in school, we're filmmakers, we're made to write stories and all that. So I had all the boys' Kasa skits were all, something that I've jotted it down. You understand? So I was constantly writing jokes about how to act it out and all that. So although I didn't pay much attention to it, the main focus was with the camera, with the cinematography. So as it happened, let me just put it again. We set it up. So the director of it, Ahonfe Patri, the sound guy, myself, we're all in the same level 100 when we all met. Okay, so the director was from Kumasi, Kofi Asamoah. Ahonfe then had just completed Miss Malaika.
Oh, okay.
Yes, she was, I think, the third or fourth runner-up. Yes, so we had a beauty queen in our class. And she's very quiet and laid back. She doesn't want to talk too much and all that. She has to, you have to really impress her before she can let you enter into her space. You get it? So I was this same person in class, always sharing jokes here and there and bothering everybody in class. So she was okay with me because I'll keep on bothering you before you give me that. Okay, come, let's talk. That was me in class. So I quickly bond with her. So when we started with the skit, I actually called her that, okay, we want to do something. I've been speaking with the director, Kofi Asamoah. I have some script down that we want to start filming. So we just want 2 characters to play along with. So we think you'd be the best. Since that character should be your trainer, kind of thing. Yes. So we think you'll be the best. So I spoke to the director. I was like, okay, we can choose her. But then, in our school, we have most of the actors from the performing school of acts from Legon coming to our school. So we use them in our student productions and all that. So we had this guy who also wanted to play a role in it. So that was what happened. We used him and then Ahonfe Patri. So we rehearsed and all that in school. It was perfect. We set the dates. We were students. We didn't have money for equipment and all that. So we had to go beg and rent. Okay. So we got the camera. We went on set. Ahonfe was there. The camera, the sound, everything was just set. We were waiting for this guy. He never showed up. We called because someone we've rehearsed. We know what we are going to do. He didn't come. And we've gone to rent the camera with our small money. It can't go to waste. Yeah. We need to do something. So that was when I called the director. I was like, Charlie, it's almost 5 and we have to return it by 6. Let's just do something before he goes. Like, who will do it? Like, let me just stand here. So he didn't even take me serious without like, we've rehearsed with the guy. You are now coming to do it. And I'm saying, it's better than we don't do at all. So I stood in it. We shot. That was the first one we did when I was standing by a car and Ahonfe came and I edited the footage, the whole thing we went to shoot. So it was on my laptop. Friends in school, they come to copy, stuff from your laptop and all that. So one guy copied it and he started sharing it. He went on his phone and then he started sharing it to people. And before I realized, it was on everybody's phone and everybody was watching. I've closed by then. Fast forward. Now my dad got to know that I wasn't in school. So now he had no choice than to support what I wanted to do. So I went one day, from school. I wasn't in the hostel by then, so I was going to pick Angie's, my trotro, to go home. So I got to Circle. Everybody was pointing at me. I was like, what's going on? I sat in the car. They'll be watching their phone, then they'll laugh. They'll turn and look at me. They'll laugh. Hey, where's the papa? I was like, what's going on? I never knew what was, because I wasn't using a smartphone by then, so I just didn't know what was going on. Everywhere I stepped, like from Circle, I go to La Paz, same thing. I was like, So I go home and my dad called me. He was watching TV3, I remember. It was like, Kweku, Beshu, and you know, TV. So I came and I saw it like, hey, I'm here.
How did they even get there? Hey.
Instantly, I had this chill. Like, I was happy. I was amazed. I didn't know what was going on. How did I get onto that TV? So I called Kofi. I was like, Jack, Kofi TV3 is here. And they were showing it like back to back when they were switching in between programs. They will show it, and
that one video.
Yeah, that one video. So we came back to school the following day. We started to speak, and I was like, Charlie, it looks like this thing has potential in it. Can we just continue doing it? It's like, okay, we can, but then the stories, I was like, I have a lot of them. I've been writing a lot of them. So that's where it all began. We started filming one episode after the other, learning the mistakes in it, and so we shot quite a lot. And then before I realized, I mean, it was free to everybody. We uploaded, we had a YouTube channel for it. We created a Facebook page for it. So it was just free to all. So now TV stations started picking it and showing it in between programs and all that. And yeah, that's all. That's how it started with the skits. So in the midst of that, I realized, okay, now I'm being sort of tagged as an actor along. So it's better I learn, something about it. So I started doing external course for that, together with the school as well. So that was how I began my acting career.
That's great.
In comic acting.
I saw that you have received so many awards, and lots of your movies have been a success, especially Kalybos in China. I think it had the highest premiere, in Ghana, and that's really cool. So all these awards, all these successes that you've had, what would you say are the main achievements for you as an actor?
Well, the main achievement to me, I mean, for every co-producer, every actor, is to see his or her movie blow. You understand? And that would be with Kalybos in China.
Okay.
Yes, because by then we were almost exiting school. So everybody wanted to, you understand, see more of Kalybos, because the video skit was just, I mean, the length was 4 minutes. Yes, it was very short, so everybody wanted to see more. So it was actually an experimental thing for us to do, which we co-produced it.
It seems a lot of things you do are actually experiments.
Exactly.
Which just play out.
Exactly. And it turns out to be great, So we wanted to extend one storyline that we shot to a movie. So that's what we began. We started shooting it here. By then, Airtel assigned me as their brand ambassador, so there was a little coins, in that side. So for financing, we were okay. You get it. So we produced it ourselves. We thought of going to the extreme, going outside Ghana to find something to do, like put Kalybos in that situation. He's outside of his comfort zone. He's outside Ghana. He finds himself in this problem that he needs to get out and come back to Ghana. So that's what the whole idea was. And then we're film people, so we had to script it down, and then that's what we shot Kalybos in China.
Okay.
And the main achievement, as to come to it, had to do with the premiering, because it was overwhelming. I've never ever seen, because I love going to premieres, because I love standing back and seeing the whole atmosphere and all that. But mine was just...
It was huge.
It was serious. And it was a serious success, because as at 3 a.m., people were still queued outside to watch the movie. That was how crazy it was. Like, we're begging people, like, it's late, the cinema needs to close. And they weren't even listening. They wouldn't go. So now the cinema had no choice than to show up till the next morning. And that was something. Wow. For me. I felt so much happy, and the movie was a success. People loved the storyline, everything it had to do with it, and
that's amazing. Pretty cool. Kalybos, if there is someone, let's say a younger person who is about to choose maybe acting as a career, how do you think that person can also be successful, or what are the things that person needs to develop and really look at?
Sure. I've always said this. I believe whatever you're passionate about, you can lie to yourself with it. If you're good at it, you know. If you're not, there's also a chance of you learning to be perfect in it. But then I always feel like it's always on the easy, level if you possess what you want to do. Okay. I always take myself as an example. I've known in me that I have this, easy go funny spirit with me. So to easily attach it into acting, into comic acting, was very easy. I didn't need to stress to make myself happy because I knew what to say and I know what to do and I know how to go about it to make it very easy. So whatever it has to do with it, irrespective of whatever, career choice you want to find yourself in, it's been accounting, it's been marketing, it's been construction, anything at all. When you know for a fact that you have that, that passion for it, it makes it very easy. We can do anything we want. We have the ability to choose any career at all, but then look within and find it in yourself that this is what I'm good at. This is what I want to do. This is what I want to develop from. And that can be very easy for you to do. So first of all, just know what you're passionate about. And that will give you the stepping stone to become what you want to be in that kind of field.
That's beautiful. You heard that, guys. Go do that. Well, let's talk finances. How does an actor make money? And you said something about being a brand ambassador for Airtel Tigo, so you can talk about that too. Do they reach out to you?
Yeah.
How does it go? How is the paperwork like? All of those things.
Yeah. So let me start with the first question. How does an actor make money? Just by doing any job that you get paid. You get so. And in getting paid, it depends. There are classes of actors. You wouldn't want to hear that, but that's the truth. They always say they are the A-class actors, they are the B-class actors and all that. Reason being, to be in a certain class of acting, it has to come with a certain token or a certain amount of pay that they have to pay you.
Okay.
Yes. I wouldn't want to mention names to just, give examples, but then that's what it is. So it's actually a stage. You move from that to go. So when you hit the higher, you know the amount you're taking for it. So now an actor's money is solely dependent on the kind of class you are. That's why we have the main characters, we have the supporting characters, we have the extras, and we have the worker passes, you understand? Definitely you wouldn't expect an actress pay to be like the main character because there are lots involved in terms of scenes that you're filming and all that. So with that side, an actor's money is solely dependent on
the class you fall in.
Yes.
Is it the production house that's going to pay you?
Exactly.
Okay.
Definitely. It's the producer actually. So the producer is the one in charge of the whole film. So you can be a producer. Okay, you bring in a director. I'm paying the director. Which actors do you think we can use for this movie? They can say, okay, so looking at the A-class actors, I think we can use that, and then supporting with this and that. And okay, so I have a budget that can cater for all. You ask and all, then you get them paid. So it's a lucrative business when you find yourself in a good or a comfortable class. And the job keeps on recurring. You make all the money you need to make from it, because it's a demanding job back in the days, not now per se. It was a demanding job which you can go like for a month without even going home with a back-to-back production. You're from this, you're from that, because they all want to film. And trust me, it's just like the telcos or the political parties or whatever A is doing, B is aware of it. So they need to quickly, tap on that thing to go. So when they know, okay, this actor is on this set. Whilst you're on the set, you have a call. Maybe your manager or something calls you, Charlie, these people want to use you now. So how do you do? Okay, so how many days do you have left here? Okay, I have like 2 days to finish. Okay, so I'll tell them like 3 days then. So it's like a back-to-back production, and all these things brings in money. You understand? So that's for the acting side of it. So you talked about the brand ambassador. So in my career startup, I realized brands are always, or companies, they always want to associate, with a known brand, just because they need to go viral. People need to know what they're talking about or what they're selling. And to do that, they need to know the person who has more followers, the person who is more sensational at that moment. So at that moment, I was that person. Because when you go on the internet, you find me there. When you go on your TVs, you find me there.
Everywhere.
So it was actually a battle between the telcos.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I said. Whatever A does, B is aware of it. So it started with MTN. I shot Yellow Cafe. It was a TV series which was being shot in. It was shot in. Yes, it was shot at NAFTI.
Okay.
NAFTI has a very big studio, so that was where it was being shot. And I was used as one as the cameraman there. Then I later realized I was being in front of the camera because they realized they needed a role that I can play with that. So that was how I switched with that. So just then they started in talking with me. They wanted to sign me as the brand ambassador for that because it has boomed and all that was going on. But then, they wanted to play smart with the agencies and all that. I'm giving much more information. Sorry. That's why. So Airtel got to know of it. Vodafone also got to know of it. So Vodafone started as well conversation, and I never heard of them again. And then Airtel came in with a bigger offer because they know the offers that's going around. So they had to just quickly, because they, as at that time, they didn't have any face to, push in, because Vodafone had some people, funny face and all that. And MTN also had quite a number of people. So Airtel was good. The money was awesome. So they signed me for their campaign for a year. So after the year, they couldn't let me go. They still needed to push on. So that brought a big financial breakthrough to me. I don't lie about that, because I know that the kind of things that money was able to solve
in your
around
life
me.
at
So
that point.
for a bigger telco like for like Airtel to sign you, they were more keen in print media. Like my pictures were all over with billboards and all that. So now it informed other companies who wanted, a clean brand, a known brand. So other companies started coming in, and before I realized, I was having a whole lot of companies on my tail to embark on your campaign, brand ambassador, influencership, and all that. So for an actor to make outside the acting money, to make good money, let me just put it that way. First of all, you really need to have a very clean brand, because no matter what it is, they wouldn't want to get associated with any negative brand. Exactly. And you need to have good organic followers as well.
Yeah.
So when that is being built, trust me, you have a whole lot of companies chasing you.
That's great. So averagely, how much is an actor paid? Like averagely.
Actually, you want me to say it so that they would know?
Oh, I didn't ask any class.
You didn't ask?
I didn't ask any class.
So averagely.
And is it per movie?
Yeah, definitely. It's per movie. And when it has to do with series, it can be per episode.
Okay.
You understand? But then with series, there are a lot of episodes that you shoot. So it always goes with the if more or less divide kind of calculation. But then you should look at ranging. Okay, since we are not talking about class, so ranging from 1,000 to as much as 10,000.
Okay. Depending on the class.
Exactly.
Okay, that's great. Thank you. Somebody here might want to know. That's why I'm asking.
But it was then.
That was then.
That was then.
But you're still acting.
We know. Yeah, we are. But then there are a lot of challenges when it has to do with the movie industry now, and you understand, it's been distribution and movie sales and all that. So it's kind of impinged on the amounts being paid to actors now, because now you need to help them do their work.
Yeah.
And you can't take then the amount you used to take, because now there's absolutely no physical distribution or marketing, places where you
online.
can. Yeah, exactly. There's no CD sales. Who even have a DVD in their house? No one does.
No one does anymore.
You get it. So that was back in the days, because when you're to do a movie and the producer is to, put out like 20,000 copies, and within a week it's done, and they have to. That was money.
Okay.
You understand? So with that, the amount you come with, they will pay you, because they know where they're going to make the sales and get their money. That's on the light or
not. Sure. Kalybos, what personal money management strategies do you use to keep your money or keep your finances in order?
So I go with a 3-step. I don't know if anyone has implemented that, but that's what I go with. I always go with my first capital, which is the money I get, invest into it, take the profits, invest the profits, and now I spend the dividends, that the money from the profits.
Okay.
So that's my 3 steps. And it's always been good for me, because now my actual money, I never touch them, because I need to invest in that money. So when I invest with that money, the profits, which every normal person will rather spend the profits, I still don't spend that profits. I invest that profits. And after that profit, that bears the dividends. That's what
you spend on.
I spend on.
3-step. Kalybos's 3-step finance technique. I've given it a name.
Exactly.
Right, sure.
So that's what I mostly do, and it's helped till now. Yeah.
Okay. Do you have any financial advice for young people out there listening to this podcast?
It's tagged with the young people. It depends on the kind of cloud or friends you find yourself in. Some friends will help you invest. Some friends will give you the advice to, Charlie, let's not blow this dough. Let's do business with it. Let's see it, let's get the money out of it, the profit out of it, and let's chill with the money. That to me will be a good friend to give you that good advice. But another friend on that, and Charlie, you hit this deal, you get this money, Charlie, you suffer. I could just go chill. That's not the kind of friend I would want to associate myself with. So it always boils down to, because trust me, you would want to work alone, but then you need a certain kind of people to give you advice in what step of business you find yourself doing. So now the second phase of it is how they will help you invest or spend that money. So and if you're someone who don't have any friends, then please take the Kalybos 3-step financial strategies.
All right.
That will help you.
That will help you. Thank you. All right, Calibus, I think we're done with our recording. So
Great.
Thank you to our listeners for listening. Thank you for coming on set today to share a few things to young people out there. If you're listening wherever you are, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Spotify, please like this episode. Please subscribe. If you're listening on Apple, you have the option to leave a review. So kindly do that. We'll appreciate it a lot. So we continue to bring on amazing guests to inspire you and motivate you and give you the information you need to get started in your financial and your life journey. Right? If you're watching on YouTube, then you should subscribe, click the bell, click the notification bar, and until next time, guys, be so smart. Bye. Okay.